You've probably heard about Bitcoin mining. Maybe you've seen news stories about massive warehouses filled with computers, consuming more electricity than entire countries. Or maybe you've heard people say you can make money by mining Bitcoin. But what actually is Bitcoin mining? And how does it work? In this video, I'll explain Bitcoin mining in simple terms that anyone can understand. Let's dive in. First, let's clear up a common misconception. Bitcoin mining has nothing to do with digging in the ground. There are no physical mines, there are no pickaxes, it's all digital. The term mining is actually a metaphor borrowed from gold mining, because just like gold miners dig to find gold, Bitcoin miners use computers to find new Bitcoin. So, what are these miners actually doing? Here's the simple version. Bitcoin miners are computers that verify and secure Bitcoin transactions. Every time someone sends Bitcoin to someone else, that transaction needs to be verified and recorded on the blockchain. Miners do this work, and in return for this work, they get rewarded with newly created Bitcoin. Think of it like this. Imagine Bitcoin is a giant digital ledger, like an accounting book that records every transaction. Every 10 minutes or so, all the recent transactions get bundled together into what's called a block. Miners compete to be the first to verify this block and add it to the blockchain. The winner gets rewarded with Bitcoin. This is how new Bitcoin enters circulation. But here's where it gets interesting. Verifying a block isn't just about clicking a button and saying, yes, this transaction is valid. If it were that easy, anyone could do it instantly. Instead, miners have to solve an extremely difficult mathematical puzzle. This puzzle requires enormous amounts of computing power to solve. It's designed to be hard on purpose. Here's why. Bitcoin needs to remain secure and decentralized. If verifying blocks were easy, someone could spam the network with fake transactions or try to double spend their Bitcoin. By making the verification process computationally expensive, Bitcoin ensures that only legitimate miners with real computing power can add blocks. It would cost too much for a bad actor to attack the network. The mathematical puzzle miners solve is called proof of work. Without getting too technical, miners essentially have to guess a random number over and over again until they find the correct one. Their computers are making trillions of guesses per second. The first miner to guess correctly gets to add the block and claim the reward. This is why you see those massive mining operations with thousands of specialized computers. They're all working simultaneously, making as many guesses as possible to increase their chances of solving the puzzle first. It's a race, and the more computing power you have, the better your odds. So what's the reward for winning this race? Right now, as of 2026, miners receive 3.125 Bitcoin for successfully mining a block. At current prices, that's a significant amount of money. But here's the catch. That reward gets cut in half approximately every 4 years in what's called a Bitcoin halving event. When Bitcoin first launched in 2009, the reward was 50 Bitcoin per block. In 2012, it dropped to 25. In 2016, 12.5. In 2020, 6.25, and in 2024, it halved again to 3.125 Bitcoin. This continues until around the year 2140, when the last Bitcoin will be mined. This halving schedule is programmed into Bitcoin's code. It's how Bitcoin maintains its scarcity. Remember, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. About 19.5 million have already been mined. The remaining Bitcoin will be released slowly over the next century through mining rewards. But if the mining reward keeps decreasing, why would anyone continue mining? Good question. As the block reward decreases, miners will increasingly rely on transaction fees. Every time you send Bitcoin, you pay a small fee. That fee goes to the miner who processes your transaction. As Bitcoin adoption grows and more transactions happen, these fees should theoretically compensate for the decreasing block reward. Now let's talk about the equipment. In the early days of Bitcoin, you could mine on a regular laptop. Some people even made decent money doing this. But as more people started mining and competition increased, regular computers became obsolete. Today, Bitcoin mining requires specialized hardware called ASICs, which stands for Application-Specific Integrated Circuits. These are machines built for one purpose only: mining Bitcoin. They're incredibly powerful but also expensive. A single high-end ASIC can cost several $1,000s, and you're competing against mining farms with thousands of these machines running 24/7. Then there's the electricity cost. Bitcoin mining consumes enormous amounts of power. Your ASIC is running at maximum capacity constantly, solving these mathematical puzzles. If your electricity costs are high, mining might not be profitable even if you win blocks. This is why many large mining operations are located in places with cheap electricity, often near hydroelectric dams or renewable energy sources. Let's talk numbers. The total computing power of all Bitcoin miners combined is measured in hash rate. As of 2026, the Bitcoin network's hash rate is astronomically high, measured in exahashes per second. That's quintillions of calculations every single second. This massive amount of computing power is what makes Bitcoin so secure. To attack the network, you'd need to control more than half of all that computing power. That's virtually impossible and prohibitively expensive. So, can the average person still mine Bitcoin profitably today? Honestly, probably not. Unless you have access to very cheap electricity and can afford significant upfront investment in equipment, you're likely to spend more on electricity and hardware than you'll make in Bitcoin rewards. The days of profitable home mining are essentially over for most people. But that doesn't mean mining isn't important. Miners are the backbone of Bitcoin. They secure the network, validate transactions, and keep everything running smoothly. Without miners, Bitcoin wouldn't work. Some people join mining pools to improve their odds. Instead of mining alone, you combine your computing power with thousands of other miners. When someone in the pool successfully mines a block, the reward is split among all participants based on how much computing power they contributed. This creates more consistent, predictable income, though smaller amounts. There are environmental concerns around Bitcoin mining. The electricity consumption is real and significant. Critics argue this energy usage is wasteful and contributes to climate change. Supporters counter that much of Bitcoin mining increasingly uses renewable energy and that the traditional financial system also consumes vast amounts of power. Some interesting developments are happening. More miners are locating near renewable energy sources. Some are using excess natural gas that would otherwise be flared and wasted. Others are experimenting with using the heat generated by mining equipment to warm buildings. The industry is evolving to address these environmental concerns. Here's something important to understand. Mining difficulty adjusts automatically every 2016 blocks, or roughly every 2 weeks. If more miners join the network and blocks are being found too quickly, the difficulty increases. If miners leave and blocks are found too slowly, difficulty decreases. This keeps the average time between blocks at about 10 minutes. This automatic adjustment is brilliant. It means Bitcoin remains secure and predictable regardless of how many miners are active. Whether there are 10,000 miners or 10 million miners, blocks still get created approximately every 10 minutes. So that's Bitcoin mining. It's the process of using specialized computers to verify transactions, secure the network, and earn Bitcoin rewards. It requires significant investment, cheap electricity, and technical knowledge. For most people, it's not a realistic way to acquire Bitcoin anymore. But for the global network, miners are essential. They're what makes Bitcoin decentralized, secure, and trustworthy. If you found this explanation helpful and want to learn more about cryptocurrency, make sure to subscribe. In the next video, I'll explain blockchain technology in detail and show you exactly how it works under the hood. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.